That's one thing to look at, yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we go to our final USU President interview over in Studio Blue with Che.
Thanks, Matt. I'm here with John Parry, who is also running for Union President. John, I'm going to jump in straight away. Colleges this week have expressed their frustration with USU in an open letter published. It details a number of problems of the USU's administering of the colleges. How will you, as Union President, assuage their gripes?
So, from what I understand, most of their gripes in the letter are to do with USU's finances, which have been infamous as long as I've been involved, really. So that's not necessarily something that's within the President's remit, but it's definitely something that needs looking at. It's also mainly, as I understand it, the letter is the college chairs and presidents saying that they want more autonomy from USU, which I am not quite sure of the legal constraints.
Well, as I understand it, the colleges are legally an entity of the University of York, but are administered in their finance system and other such sort of administration by USU. And I think the problem is that they feel like nobody's child. They feel like they want the university doesn't want to deal with them, and they hand it over to USU, and USU isn't doing a good job.
They're not the only ones that would say that USU aren't doing a good job. That's not an attack on the current officers or anything. They all have very good intentions, but it is a common theme. People saying that USU is not doing as much as it could or as much as it should, and I don't want to push the colleges away. I would, as president, I would love to engage with the college chairs and to make people to make students see colleges as something to be proud to belong to and proud to get involved with. This year turnout for college elections was really low, and that's not something that's going to be fixed in a single term, but it's something that we have to make students want to get involved with colleges.
Okay, so I did a bit of digging. You are a Labour man. You were involved with the Labour Society, the Labour Club, if my digging was correct.
Yes.
How do you feel you can represent the views of all students on campus when you're so ardently party affiliated?
Yes, I am not going to deny the party affiliation thing. It's entirely accurate, but the problems that students at York have aren't party political ones. Yes, Brexit is an issue, but USU does not exactly have control over the final shape that it take. So I'm willing to work with, both. I'm willing to listen to both sides of the argument. Obviously, my values are Labour values, but that doesn't mean that I can't at least listen to what other people have to say, and hopefully have them listen to or read my manifesto.
Okay. You spoke about Labour values. Labour is a party that has historically been very representative of the working class. Currently, we are about to enter the third wave of strikes over the university superannuation scheme, which is a pension scheme which a lot of university staff are signed up to, and the UCU, because of changes to the system, are striking for the third time in 3 years. Should students be reimbursed, or does the reimbursement damage the strike's effectiveness? What would you have USU do?
I think USU should absolutely support the strikes in the principle that students deserve the best learning conditions, and that doesn't come from staff in poor working conditions, because it's not just pensions they're striking about. It's about wage cuts, it's about overwork, it's about increased casualisation, the gender pay gap.
Yes, I should clarify. It's the third strike in 3 years on the USS, but yes, for the previous strike, which was in autumn term this year, was also on casualisation, gender pay gap, and pay. So yes, I just wanted to clarify that for the viewers. Yep.
So the best teaching conditions, the best learning conditions don't come from staff who are overworked and underpaid. And so I think it's right that USU support the strikes, and it's right that USU lobby university management to make sure that the academics, our lecturers, are fairly paid, do have good pensions. And yes, if students lose out on valuable contact time, I think university management should reimburse that. because it's 9.25 grand a year. That's no small amount of money, especially on courses with small contact hours. So I think the university should reimburse students for lost contact hours, not just by providing free gowns at graduation.
So you don't think that went far enough?
Not at all, no. I was in my first year, so I'm at third year now. I've been at York for all those strikes. I was affected by that first wave, but nothing the university did would have compensated, reimbursed me, call it what you will. So I don't think they went far enough on that. And so I think the university should reimburse students, but USU should also pressure the university to make sure that staff don't go on strike again, and they don't face more pensions cuts.
Okay. USU candidates, particularly for the union president role, have promised transparency of the union for a number of years. I had a look back. I think at least the last 6 have had the word transparency in their manifesto. And obviously, because it keeps on coming up, it hasn't been delivered. What makes you different? How are you going to deliver the transparent USU that students keep on voting for?
I would like to sound different. Obviously, I'm not a college chair, which the past 9 maybe have
8 out of 9.
8 out of 9. So that's obviously very different. I'm not coming at this from the position of someone who is deeply involved with USU, spends a lot of time with USU. Obviously, I do spend time interacting with USU on societies as a course rep, etc. But I don't. I do speak to average students, and some of them, I had someone ask me a few weeks ago what a SAB was. 6 months at York, and they've been receiving emails titled SABs in short all that time, and they don't know what a SAB is. So I think that transparency, it's not enough to just publish who turns up to meetings. We need to publish and publicise details of what gets discussed at those meetings, which I think, officers are moving towards that, and I'm glad to see that. Would definitely continue it. But, as an individual, I haven't been at the heart of USU, so I'm talking to students that are also outside USU, the USU bubble. So I'm not just going from in the bubble to more in the bubble and, getting confused over things. I do actually know where the gaps in students' knowledge are, because I think that's the main problem, the gulf between the officers, maybe college chairs, the USU bubble that I keep talking about, and the average student who maybe doesn't necessarily know why USU works and why they should care about USU.
Okay. One of your manifesto points, courtesy of the news election supplement, was fewer 9am. Wouldn't fewer 9am push the end of the day to the maximum of 7pm, or would it leave students getting less value for their degrees? It could be interpreted as a 6 of one and half a dozen of another.
Well, this is a very good point. If you're on a chemistry or physics course, for instance, then you might have contact hours literally 9 till 6. Take away 9am completely, and you would be there 10 till 7. Maybe they would prefer that, but
so
I'm campaigning for all I'm saying is that there should be fewer, because if you're on a course where you maybe have 5 or 6 contact hours a week, there's no need for any of them to be at 9am.
Okay. So you've also said that there should be fewer York Parties nights, and there should be 1 club night a week on campus. Are you really ready to surrender some or all of the funding that York Parties puts into student activities by scaling back that partnership?
So York Parties puts in 80 grand a term to USU, which, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's compared to USU's annual turnover of £4.5 million, it's not negligible, but with the increased profit from student bars, it is.
You think it can be offset?
I think it could be offset, and I also York Parties aren't delivering value for money. It's not acceptable.
Okay, so do you think that, I think I've touched on this before, I just want to get a very clear answer because it's one of the hot button issues in this year's USU elections. Should USU as a whole, as an institution, support the strikes, go against strikes, or remain neutral?
I think USU should support the strikes. I think USU should call on the university to reimburse students, and I think USU should call on the university to properly negotiate with academics and to properly make sure that their pensions, their pay conditions, all of that are secure so that we don't see more strikes.
Okay, another hot button issue, and we're going to make this very quickly. How are you going to deliver cheaper accommodation? You've said it in your manifesto. If you can give it to us in a matter of seconds, if you can.
I'm not sure if I can condense it down to a matter of seconds, but I would certainly be working with as many officials and committees as possible, learning from previous officers to cut it, because it's not worth the cost.
John Parry, thank you for joining us. So that was, I believe, the final interview of our candidate debate night. I believe we are going now to Studio Red. Matt.
Thank you, Che. I have